Hello there. I cannot wave to you right now, since I'm not actually in the game. I am in the scene editor, a tool for designing levels for Spiral Knights. And, well, this is a demonstration video for my level, Warriors Unrest. It's a level primarily inspired by that one Battleship mission, the Drakon Mission. The level there is called Sunset Steps. It's a level with Sky Island's fiery theme, which is also seen in the compounds. It also uses the skybox, the fiery skybox, which is only used once in the entire game, again in that Drakon Mission. And this is actually going to become a kind of a theme, where I'm using assets, with cool assets that are used only once in the entire game. This is definitely not the last instance of that, as we'll see in a moment. So, this is designed as an arcade level, or, well, primarily as an arcade level. It could serve as a mission level, but it is meant to be replayable. So, without further ado, let's go. The players start on this small platform surrounded by a bigger landmass. It's a thing that isn't widely used in Spiral Knights levels. And entering the wider landmass, we can see a few oddities. These are Volver dens. These are also assets which have been added back with the release of Compounds in 2013, together with a lot of other beast-related props which have not actually ever been used in Spiral Knights. Like these Volver den props, they have only been used once in the entire game, in the Breaking in the Recruits mission, in that one Haven level. Same goes for these boulders. These boulders, for Sky Islands, they've been added, as far as I remember, with Total Drones, so again around 2013 or 2014, I might be mistaken by year. These boulders are kind of inspired by Celtic culture. As you can see, these are stacked boulders, a bit of paganism here, and once again, they are almost never used in the entire game. They're only used, as far as I remember, in Total Drone scenes. So, again, almost never. But let's not focus on the sad stuff, let's actually traverse the level. There's a lot to explore. Not right there. So far, this first area is just an introductory area, not a lot of enemies here. I will show you the version with enemies later. It's quite spacious, and it looks mostly on par with Jigsaw Valley or the Lichness layer. But, as we go east, we can see the oddities. I have decided to push the boundaries of Spiral Knights level design a little bit by combining what at first might sound as uncombinable. Firestorm Citadel, right in the fiery compounds. This is supposed to be a sort of an outpost raised by the undead Almerians. You could say that they have arisen quite recently, and this used to be their territory, like this entire Sky Islands territory. This used to be Almerian land. We're not going to climb up the mountain just yet, or up the hill, because, well, there's quite an unusual area there, but first I suggest we explore the areas behind the hill. This is the end of our outpost, just destroy the barricades. And we go north, where we see something mechanical. Together with the beasts, the slimes, and the undead there on the hill, I have also decided to add a little bit of gremlins. Well, not exactly, because the gremlins here are dead. This is the gremlin outpost that they have tried to raise here, unsuccessfully. All that's left from them are these props, these bunkers, this abandoned equipment. A bit of logging, woodcutting operation gone wrong, and of course there's going to be constructs, but not a single sign of some gremlins. In total, this level should contain practically monsters from 5 families, including fiends. There's going to be grievers and sylphins, obviously, but mostly it's going to be slimes, wolvers, constructs, and undead. So this is one kind of level that actually warrants normal damage. Well, it could have if normal damage didn't suck. So, a few bridges here I decided to place because I quite enjoy and appreciate the aesthetic of disconnected islands, and I never quite liked in the Aurora Isles and Jigsaw Valley how they are all connected, well, like this, like with the solid landmass, like one long inseparable line of these edges connecting them with these floors. I said no to that, so I placed these bridges here with barriers and walkable quads and fake tiles. It's, well, it's only slightly tedious, it only takes a little bit more time. With practice it gets faster and faster, so definitely not a complex and not a complicated thing to do. But I decided to push things a little bit further, or maybe a lot further. I decided to make these stones, these spaces between the islands, also workable, without apparent bridges. As you can see, I have added this arena, and I have added these traversable well, spaces between the islands. These small islands are also traversable, and I've tried to make the language, the level design language as discernible as possible, so that players would eventually, sooner or later, discover that, yes, these can actually be walked upon, and this button can be reached regardless. So, a small arena here with these islands can be walked, and the price for this arena is a key, a gold key. Let's pick it up. Well, let's imagine that we pick it up, because it's the scene there and I can do much with this pawn of a knight. Alright, so this area actually cycles. Well, we will go full circle once we go south. Once again, a small archipelago of differently sized islands here. A big island in the background with a dead graben and again some logging operation going around there. We go here. Some more traversable boulders and stones between the islands. And once again, fairly wide and fairly, well, how would you say, well, these just look like Aurora Isles or Jigsaw Valley territories, just in fiery setting. Nothing unusual here, except, obviously, for this introductory piece also. Those players who do actually notice, well, that would be great. So, we come full circle here, let's go up the mountain. As we can see, we have more signs of graben incursion gone wrong here, and thankfully they have brought with them some water. This is actually supposed to be, there's supposed to be a respawner, but it doesn't show up for whatever bug that is in the scene editor. But let's imagine that we pick it up and we extinguish these flames, and of course we open this golden door. But we must also pay attention to the fact that this is a danger room. This is dangerous. So, let's go in. Well, I cannot actually walk across this, I can walk across these walls. This is what I would like to call an Armenian monastery. It is not a space meant for a fight, lore-wise, but, well, that's what the hypothetically players must endure. A very tight space. Hopefully the players do think of extinguishing these flames before fighting, otherwise they are in for a pain, a world of pain. And the arena takes place in this monastery. There's these benches. Again, barely used assets in the game, quite beautiful, but unfortunately locked behind the prize boxes that have last been rotated when 2015 or 2016. They've only appeared once or twice over the course of the game's lifespan. Not cool, definitely not cool. I would definitely like to see such assets more in the regular levels, and well, that's the best I can do. I can only dream. Moving on. This door is just for the treasure that is available to players after they had successfully emerged from the danger room. This is also for treasures, and this is an additional elevator in case the players have already cleared up this area over there. One note, you might have noticed that the distance from the elevator here, from the spawn here and to that elevator is actually quite quick, and the players are not obligated to go through any arenas in order to finish the level. This is a level that is somewhat designed for speedrunning. If the players don't want to go through this danger room, don't want much action, or for whatever reason, they can simply go right here or here to quickly do it, like in Spiral Court, if I remember correctly, that's the name for the shortest Scarlet Fortress levels. So, the last decoration of this level is this huge tower. It's actually quite a piece of work, I could say, well, because it's made with fake tiles, in a way, quite unorthodox for Spiral Knights. Like, the walls in Spiral Knights, these walls, are usually made in a way like this, like there's the first row and then the second row of walls in Spiral Knights is always like a little bit deeper here, because they usually cannot be stacked on top of each other. However, here I decided to experiment with fake tiles and create like very solid very wide tower without this sort of thing, as you can see here. This is what usually happens in Spiral Knights. This is how walls in Spiral Knights are usually designed. With the power of Scene Editor, I can climb up here without a hassle, and you can see most of the level like this, with a beautiful skybox. Quite a sunset. Right, so this was a tour of a level without the monsters. Let's see how it looks like with enemies and with potential fights in a moment. We're back here at spawn, and I've tried to make it as faithful as possible to the regularly designed arcade and mission levels. So we have a barrier, we have an arsenal station as usual, and, well, let's go. So, the first area, by all laws of game design, should be like an introductory one, especially to such an experimental and, dare I say, alien level like this. So, the areas here are quite spacious, they're not extremely tight, and there's only a handful of enemies around, including the mini-monsters, and the bunnies are some of the easiest to deal with amongst the mini-monsters. We got the Wolvers here. The Wolver dens here, I forgot to say, they don't respawn the Wolvers, they are not destructible, these are completely static props, they're just decorations here. So, we've got Wolvers here, we got some bunnies, we got some Oilers for a change, and the Salamander to hopefully ignite them. Let's assume that the players don't discover this route just yet, they go full circle and then up the monastery. So, I will over here, some Lichness, some more regular terrain here, like Lichness layer, and then we approach the undead area, the Elvirian outpost. So, an army of slimes here, as a first wave of monsters, then the undead come here. These are tight spaces, so zombies and scarabs will thrive here, and I know that scarabs are a pain in the ass as mini-monsters, but I try to balance it out a little. If the players are smart, they will not destroy this barricades just yet, they can hide behind them against the scarabs. Let's go as usual, it's just zombies and scarabs here, not a whole lot of them. Ideally this level should be like in tier 3, because obviously Firestone Citadel is also in tier 3, so that's why the level will appear as quite difficult to you. So, slimes, constructs, more slimes, a salamander for fire, and some rocket puppies, because I detest how the fire puppies are made in this game, like their flamethrowers just miss 90% of the time. The constructs guard the abandoned, ransacked gremlin outpost, together with some bunnies and some scarabs, feasting on the bodies of gremlins, because, well, they are scarabs, they are supposed to be scavengers. And also I seem to have forgotten to place treasure boxes here, but they will definitely be here. Not a lot of them. 2 rewards with players in a danger room. Here there will be just like 1 or 2 green boxes and a health box maybe. A lumber, rocket puppies, 1 scatterboard for variety, rose bunnies, all that sort of stuff. But the true meat is here in the arena for the key. Continuing the theme of reusing barely used but very cool assets, this badass. This is a lumber. I will not blame you if you don't remember this one. This one is from the tutorial, from the crash site, from the very first area you guys appear in. So obviously this guy appears only once in the entire game. This is cool design, and then he never appears ever again. You cannot even replay the scene that you need him in. Only if you create a new account, obviously, but it's tier 1, so he's absolutely useless. He's just a bullet sponge. But anyways, assuming that players are here, this arena is supposed to be, well, a medium difficulty or maybe slightly above average. Remember, this is tier 3 we're talking about, so a few grievers to spice things up, and obviously this huge lumber who is guarding the key and the sylphing. There's always a sylphing. And polyps on these sides. Rocket Puppy and Polyp here are not really supposed to spawn in this arena, thankfully, so the players can deal with them before they step on the button. A few slimes here, a salamander for a change and for ignition as usual, a Polyp here, and beasts here. You might have noticed that beasts are here while the slimes are on that opposite side. So, assuming that we have a key from the arena, let's come back to the monastery. So, this layout of enemies should give the players, well, the attentive players, an idea of what is to come in this danger room. Grievers, slimes, and the undead. I don't think I've added any beasts there, so it's going to be just 3 families. I've also thought about adding a real launcher here from Firestorm Citadel, but I figured it would be quite an overkill, and it's absolutely huge. I couldn't fit in here. Alright, so it's a danger room. We open the door with the gold key, and we enter in. What do we see here? Zombies, grievers, howitzer, slimes, scarabs. They should thrive, and the scarabs and drops here should thrive in these very tight environments. And a few very rare enemies that are again barely, if ever, used in the game. Firstly, the Almerian Crusaders. They're only used in Legion of Olmire and in Shadowplay. Some of the best enemies in the game, and they are probably my favorite, that's why I'm rocking this outfit. And of course, the precious Walk-Up Volver. Never used in the game, seen only in the very first trailers. I wish they were used in the Vanityuk fight as sort of second wave. If you remember, first wave is zombies, second wave is also zombies, and now only the third wave in Vanityuk is the Royal Guards. That's not fair. There should be walk-ups, clearly. I also pondered about adding Royal Guards here. You remember those big Crusaders, but the space here is quite tight already. Again, it would be an overkill. So there's that. I cannot quite design these arenas like, you know, with several waves in mind, because during the demonstration they would all just pop up here like inside each other, like all waves at once. Because this is just a hypothetical scenario for each of those arenas. It's just a theory of what enemies could be here, not an actual arena. So, with that out of the way, let's check out the rewards. It's a dangerous room, and a very dangerous one at that. So, I say the rewards should be quite nice. This is the first room, just green boxes and some health. There could be more. I'm not quite sure how difficult it's going to be, especially for experienced players, because I'm not sure how enemies would act with these benches. If they're going to be frequently getting stuck in here, then obviously it will be quite easy. And the bigger reward right here, with a few good coins. Maybe I'm just thinking now, maybe there should be more, who knows. I've also removed the fog a little bit for a little more demonstration. This is how it looks like from afar. And we once again move back to reach this huge tower and pause for a little more decoration. And I should somewhere. And that's about it. That's the level. Let's take a look at it from bird's eye view. This is how it looks like from the scene editor viewpoint. It looks quite huge, at least from here, but that's the case with most Spiral Knights levels. They are really, they kind of feel like big, but on the pathways, the traversable space is always restricted to like this, like it's just a chain of long corridors. As you can see, lots of technical props here. In order to make these stones, these traversable stones, had to tinker a little bit with walkable quads, these invisible props which allow for walking, and with these barriers. If I remember correctly, these walkable quads, well, you could have noticed their impacts in the Shadowplay mission. That, if you remember that huge walkable chain in the Shadowplay, that Vanguard mission where we return to Firestorm Citadel, that is being rejuvenated by the nature sprites. Walkable quads here, more complicated quads here, and also here. Oh, that was loud. And this bridge is also, by the way, comprised of fake tiles. This will only be meaningful to those who are acquainted with Scene Editor. Well, that's about it. Let's take a look at the level without the monsters. This is how it looks like. Fog on, fog off. So, this is just a community level. A theory on how could Firestorm Citadel assets and regular Sky Island assets be merged without breaking the lore quite authentically. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this hypothesis. And, well, I also hope that one day Grey Havens will allow us one way or another to add community levels into the game. Especially the arcade levels, because the arcade is quite starved for both unique levels and parts for generated levels. Well, we can only hope. Thank you for watching.